welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Dr. Debbie Javier. So in this video, I will be giving you tips in writing Chapter 3 or the research methodology. But before that, if you haven't subscribed in my channel yet, please click the subscribe button and the bell button for you to be notified every time I have a new video. So we're done already with Chapter 1 and then Chapter 2, which is the review of related literature. So this time, I hope that you are ready to listen and to write your Chapter 3 or the research methodology. So the first question that we should be able to answer before giving the tips is that, what are the parts of Chapter 3 or the research methodology? So the parts basically are the research method that you are going to use, instruments and techniques that you are going to use also, and then data gathering procedure, the sampling procedure, and the statistical treatment of data. So under instruments and techniques, you have there subtopics like construction, validation, and administration. So I will be giving you some tips. I will try my very best to give you some tips on how to write them. So tip number 1, write an introductory paragraph. So before you start writing about the parts of the research methodology, you should first try to write an introductory paragraph. So the introductory paragraph basically would only consist on the parts of the research methodology. So it would sound like, this chapter presents the research methodology or the research instruments, and then the other parts of Chapter 3. That will be the content of your introductory paragraph. Tip number 2, discuss the research method that you are going to use. So what are the basic types of research methods? So we have there descriptive research. It answers the question, what is? And then experimental research, what will be? So the result of the experiment. And then historical research, what was? So those are the basic types of research method. So what are you going to do there? You should be able to indicate in your Chapter 3 what is the research method that you are going to use, and then take a definition from an expert about this research method and then relate it in your study. For the next tips, we have tips 3, 4, and 5. This will be under instruments and techniques used. So tip number 3 will be focused on the construction, number 4 on the validation, and number 5 administration. So under this one, under instruments and techniques, basically you will only try to narrate what did you do in the construction of your questionnaire, test, or interview questions. And then for tip number 4, you have there for the validation, you will simply narrate how you validated your instruments. And tip number 5 will be focused on the administration. You will just narrate how did you do with the administration of your study. So under construction, we have number 3, narrate how are you going to construct the instruments of the study. So you will simply describe here, what did you exactly do in formulating your questionnaire, in making your questionnaire. What did you exactly do? You are going to tell a story or you're going to narrate. And then how did you prepare for the test? And then how did you prepare for the interview questions? Next, tip number 4 is focus on the validation. Just simply narrate here the process on how you're going to validate the instruments of the study. So, how will you be validating your instruments? Like, for example, you are going to consult an expert and then consult also your advisor. And then for the administration, simply narrate how are you going to administer the research instrument of the study. So the actual administration, what did you exactly do in administering the questionnaire or the test? You will simply narrate the steps that you did or that you are going to do. For tip number 6, this is focused on the data gathering procedure. So what are you going to do with the data gathering procedure? What are you going to write there? You will simply narrate the specific steps that you are going to do in gathering the data. This will start from writing a letter to ask permission, and then what did you exactly do for you to be able to gather the data. You ask permission, and then you coordinate with teachers or with the students, and then you implemented your instruments, or you gave them tests, or you let them answer the questionnaire. So sometimes this one can be presented through a diagram, or it can also be through a chart. Okay, data gathering procedure. It can also be through paragraph form. Next, tip number 7, this is focused on the sampling procedure. You should indicate how will you determine your respondents or the sampling procedure that you are going to use. So the sampling procedure is a process or technique of choosing the subgroup from a population to participate in the study. So in the sampling procedure, you will just go through a process on how you are going to choose the respondents of the study. So I will just give you some of the sampling procedures that you can do. We have the probability sampling procedure, simple random sampling procedure, systematic sampling procedure, stratified sampling procedure, or the cluster sampling procedure, and also you can make use of the purposive sampling procedures. In the purposive sampling, you are going to set a criteria, and only those people who would fall under that criteria can be included or can be part of your study. And the last tip is tip number 8, which is focused on the statistical treatment. So what are you going to do with this one? Simply indicate the statistical tools that you are going to use, whether you're going to use mean, median, mode, weighted average, and the other statistical tools that you are going to use, or the formula, and then you are going to explain why are you going to use these kinds of formula. Okay? So may I just have a recap with the techniques on how to write your research methodology or your chapter 3. First, write an introductory paragraph. Second, discuss the research method that you are going to use. Third, you are going to discuss how will you construct, validate, and administer your research instruments. And then, discuss also or narrate also how are you going to do the data gathering procedure. And then, how are you going to do the sampling procedure? And then, of course, you will also try to discuss something about the statistical treatment. So basically, when you talk about chapter 3, this is more on narration only. You will simply narrate what are you going to do, how are you going to do your research. So that's it for chapter 3, or the research methodology. Okay? I hope I was able to share useful tips in writing your chapter 3. So again, I would like to leave you with this one. Always be a blessing to others. Happy research writing. See you in my next video.